Mayor Tim Keller, thanks for joining us here in the studios of New Mexico PBS. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Great to be here.
We're going to cover a couple of very important things going on in the community, some things we've talked about here at the table, but some things we want to get some illumination on. Let's start with art. And we had a recent announcement. We've got the money from the feds, the $75 million. That seems to be working. Where are we on art right now in your view? Are the buses ready to roll, or should we anticipate being able to climb on board and get to where we need to go on Central here very soon?
Oh, I wish it was that simple.
Yeah.
But, I think to just take us back a little bit, there were major design issues that we discovered in terms of certain stops. We've redesigned those. That's the good thing. We're getting the priority signalizing that was, again, supposed to be there, but is almost ready. Right. And so we've taken care of all of those. And then, of course, money was a huge hurdle. Right. But that money is sort of interesting. It's sort of, I remember it was a very windy day when we announced it. And like the money blew in from DC and then it blew right back out because we already spent it. That was basically a situation where last year, it's kind of like ordering food and we just finally paid the bill. So all the contractors had already been paid and so forth. And so we literally just had to use that to balance the books. So the last big thing remaining is the buses. And this has been the technological challenge. We bought buses that were way out in front of readiness in terms of battery powered buses that are 60 foot. And so the battery life has never met spec. And there's no other company that makes these right now. So we're kind of stuck with this company. And we came up with a solution, which is basically the company will pay, BYD, they'll pay for recharging stations all up and down Central, much like if your cell phone doesn't work, you could charge it in your car and then at work and then at home. We're going to charge the buses up and down the route. So the wait time and the issue is for those to get built. And so they have told us that it should be this winter. We have all the legal things in place, but we know, look, that company they're already a year late on delivering the buses anyway. Right. So I'm optimistic.
You took a pretty hard line with them. Do you feel like you were heard by these folks?
I do. The CEO came out numerous times. We applied pressure in different ways, even sort of politically in DC and things like that. But what I think I've learned a little bit about them is they also bit off more than they can chew. So as initially upset as I was at them for not delivering on their commitments, I think the problem is they never could have in the first place. And so they have their own technology issues. And so unfortunately, it's been a tougher problem than I think even they thought. And so because no one else makes these buses, at least in the short term, we're kind of stuck with each other.
There you go. Is this an opportunity, however, to have a bigger, broader discussion about transportation here in Albuquerque? Is this something your administration is going to look at, that potentially down the road you're going to roll out a scheme that we could maybe look at 10 to 20 years down the road and say, this is the direction we want to go. This is just a start. Is that something you're anticipating doing as well?
We are. We've actually taken this opportunity. One, we're going to start the safety training that we're doing, and then there's a long road for driver education. In other cities like Cleveland, I've learned it's taken years for people to learn how to drive this route and for the community to understand it. And then on top of that, we're looking at, which is something I always thought was a good idea, a cross line that would basically go from the airport over to the hospital. And to me, this is, at the end of the day, and we'll do it we won't build all these fancy stops and things. You just basically adjust the bus route. Right. But if we could have rapid transit to actually go to a Lobo game, to an Isotopes game, I think that gets people using the route who normally wouldn't use it.
Right.
So as soon as we can and have the funding for that, but I do think it'll be in my term, we're going to try and do that as a low-cost way to actually radically increase ridership and also meet some of those public service issues with respect to the hospital and the airport.
Gotcha.
And so then at least we have two lines crossing, and that's sort of the basis for a real transit system.
One last question on art. Interestingly, when you think about full-bred systems, they're just out there running, no one really thinks about it. Is the community, we're a car culture. Is there only so far you can take a transportation system where it becomes costing so much but serving not a whole lot of people? Is there a tricky art to this that you're discovering?
It's a good pun.
Right?
There's a little art to it for sure. It's something that kind of inheriting the infrastructure that's there, it is way ahead of its time. In other words, we don't have the demand now for this type of system. However, if you look at how cities, and we can pick Denver or Cleveland, if you look at how they sort of step change into both growing as a city, but also providing transit, it's really with two things. Traffic. So like the worse traffic is, the more people are interested in public transit. And it's just a factual reality.
Right.
But the other thing is special events. So this idea of either airports or stadiums, and that is when, because that's when everyone, it's related, right? When do you really, really hate traffic? And when can you not stand the parking issue?
Right.
It's a special event.
Right.
And so if we can, it's kind of a gateway, if you will, to using public transit more. And that's why actually River of Lights, it was premature to run them from a technical perspective, but from a strategic perspective from public transit, excellent example of how to use them.
Good point.
And so I think, this we'll be able to make some lemonade out of this, I think, by you doing that.
Absolutely. Turn to crime, big issue here in our city. Certainly, you read up and down Facebook, folks are very frustrated. You clearly know this. It's not something that's news to you. Is there anything you could tell the public right now that's markedly different that your administration's doing in its approach to crime than the previous administration?
I think there's several things actually. And the first thing is, we have learned that the challenges are deep. And I know our city has known this for a while, but I think the biggest thing is, look, there is no silver bullet. There is no one idea that is going to fix crime or homelessness or addiction. But it's first acknowledging that and saying that we have to address these issues at every point along the way. That's what we're committed to. So it's very much like a ground game strategy instead of sort of throwing a Hail Mary pass. And so here's what we've done on a number of fronts. Number one, there is new leadership at APD. Number two, we are honoring the DOJ commitments in every way, and we've made that clear publicly. And even when we mess up, we catch ourselves and we come back and try and do it right. We have actually implemented the beginnings of real community policing. We have a long way to go to that, but at least we're committed to it and we're starting. And also we're going back to basic police work. So we're pulling people over when you speed, we're going after stolen cars, we're trying to stop break-ins. These were things actually that had been kind of put as a side to try and focus on specific areas. And what we're saying is they're all related. And you have to send a signal that we're taking back the public domain. And so we're back to the basics on that front. But also we are creating a downtown police special district, which is going to be something that is very different than we've ever seen in Albuquerque. It's not just a couple of more officers for a short time. It's a whole comprehensive strategy for downtown. And I think the last thing that I'd mention is that we also have an officer shortage, but the good news is, and this is something that never really, it doesn't sound glamorous, but we put the infrastructure in place, meaning we got the funding to hire more officers, and we have 40 in the academy now. We have about 40 lateral hires. We actually might hit our goal of 100 officers this year, and then we need to do that for 3 more years. Because all of these special things that we need to do take more officers, and that includes specialists for addiction, it includes specialists for homeless outreach. So anyway, those I think are very material changes, and they're things I think they tell me basically, look, I see more officers, I see folks trying to do more, and we do know a lot of the crime stats are slightly down for the first time in several years, but we have a long ways to go, and it's going to take years.
Inside of the idea, you have a new chief, Chief Geyer, of course, and it seems like there's now more specialty units out there. You mentioned the housebreak thing. That's in the stolen car thing. Big issue for a lot of folks. That's real, ground zero, people in my house or people stealing my car. How are those efforts working to do more specialty policing in that regard?
So I view specialty policing as one of these things that you use to adjust to the needs of the times. And so sometimes you have specialty groups for different things, and then you have to disband them actually and get people just doing block by block policing. But now we are back working on auto theft. And what we've done, we learned this from New York actually, from the NYPD. Auto theft was seen as kind of this ancillary activity, obviously related to other crime, but usually people didn't spend a lot of time on it. And about 2 years ago, all the studies nationally started showing the opposite, which is that basically auto theft is the one thing in common with everything else. Because you steal a car as either currency to trade for drugs or whatever, or to pay debts, or for gang initiations, or to do other things like break into someone else's house or rob a restaurant, all in stolen cars. And they are somewhat trackable. So both, they're the nexus of all of these crimes, and it's actually a solvable problem. And that's why we're working on like license plate readers, on these different techniques to actually track stolen cars. And so that actually so far, it is one area where we have seen some small progress, but we got a long ways to go.
Economic development, big issue, and you just had a big announcement for a big downtown Jobs are coming in, 700 jobs from TaskUs, and part of 1,000 jobs you guys are announcing since the first of the year that's come into downtown. Let me put that up against something. We've lost, I think, if I have my numbers right, over the last decade or plus, about 15,000 jobs have left out of downtown. So it's going to take a lot to fill up back to where we were before. I'd like to get a sense of where you think it's headed. You know, the ability to hire in big chunks, you know, companies to come in and hire, I should say, downtown. What's in the future for downtown?
Well, you know, we believe in placemaking fundamentally in terms of how we think about planning and development. And downtown is something that, you know, now I think we've realized across America, all cities rise and fall with their downtown. And it's just a fact. And even if you don't live in downtown, that's why downtown is so important. Frankly, in New Mexico, because of Albuquerque's outsized role in the state, I mean, I think there's a good argument that the whole state rises and falls with the health of downtown. So we're really keying in on it, and 1,000 new jobs is actually, that was the largest announcement for jobs in 7 years.
Oh, wow.
So I think this shows how far we have to go, and as you mentioned, what we've got to do, but we're trying to do that in some larger chunks. And so there's enough vacancy right now where we can do that in existing buildings, but it also has to do with finally working on the rail yards and taking ownership of that instead of waiting for someone else.
Talk about that if you would. What does that mean, taking ownership of the rail yards? I think folks would be interested in that.
You know, it's funny, each mayor has tried this, and
Yes.
frankly, they all have, you know, kind of moved the ball 5 yards.
Right.
And so I'm gonna try it again. Hopefully I'll be able to take it at least 20 or something like that. So basically this, the last administration was able to activate the market, and that's a good thing, and I love it, and we should celebrate that. But nothing else could happen because they signed a master plan agreement with a California developer. And so we had to wait actually until a couple of weeks ago to be able to actually unwind that. And in the next few weeks, actually, we're going to be terminating that. But instead of looking for another master developer or something like that, we're not going to wait. We're actually going to start doing it as a city. And the issue is remediation. So no investor will come in and do anything because it's contaminated. So the city is going to say, you know what, as a public need to activate this amazing space, we're going to do that. We're going to remediate that. We're going to pay for it, and we're going to get it started. And then I hope we're also going to be able to kind of double the size of the market by fixing up another building next to it.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll be out of money. Then we're going to have to go, you know, ask for more,
Sure.
talk about our bond issues and things like that.
Yeah.
But we just want to say, let's do what we can do today. In a significant way, and then we'll, you know, take it the next round after that. We
Right.
don't want to wait any longer. And that's what
Yeah.
we're going to start in a couple of weeks.
I have to ask you this and put that up against that idea, up against what just happened with Topgolf. Just to reiterate, there was a vote in City Council. You vetoed. They overrode your veto. Now that the dust has settled a little bit, do you have a different feeling about Topgolf, or what's your sense of what Topgolf can actually do or don't do for our city?
Well, I don't have a different sense. You know, at the end of the day, the 1,000 jobs that we announced, from a city's perspective, I think we spent about $900,000 on incentives for that. $900,000 for 1,000 jobs. They're economic-based jobs that bring money in from out of state, and they're career jobs that you can use to get subsequent jobs higher up later. Topgolf meets none of those criteria. Also, they're downtown, which is part of that placemaking. And again, that location where Topgolf is, I used to work at the Beach Water Park, I know
Right.
it well, but you know, there's mostly warehouses and so forth around there and things.
Sure.
It's not really placemaking. So I think we did the right thing. But you know, I'll say this, with council, I want to have a productive relationship. And I think to be productive, it also means you agree to disagree. And we talked about this in advance. And they said, you know, they kind of cooked this up even before I got there. And I said, well, I don't really like it. And they're like, well, we'll do our thing, we'll do that. But then we're not going to let it, you know, cascade over into other areas. So we've actually had a very good relationship, even though in this arena, we've just agreed to fundamentally disagree. We will never have agreed on Topgolf, and that's okay. And I think actually every 6 months, you know, we should be agreeing on a couple of big things, and we should be disagreeing on a couple of big
Good
things.
point there. I have to ask, and back up to crime. Crime is a nexus through all of these things in economic development. I'm sure you know this as well, and you talk about this with your team. Can you get your goals met without getting your goals met about crime first? Do you know what I mean? Can you really do the economic development you want to do without knocking down some of the problems we're having with crime? Do you see those two things as fundamentally connected as well?
They're absolutely connected. And
Yeah.
even to get these 1,000 jobs downtown, part of that was me personally going over our downtown policing plan with these companies. And so, people always wonder, well, what does the mayor actually do? Well, that's what I do. I met with them multiple times and I said, look, here's how we're dealing with crime. And also, you deal with parking and things like that and the incentives too. But we have to get that under control. I think the good news is our city sells itself if we take care of crime. We are so resilient and we are so diverse and special. If we can actually take care of some of these basics like crime and step up for our kids, some of our after school work and summer program work, all of a sudden people are like, wow, this place is awesome.
Right.
And so I think the good news is once people have some confidence there, Albuquerque is an easy sell for the rest of the country to appreciate. And
There's a lot of want to come back out there. A lot of folks who have left and they're waiting for something to happen because there's a lot of desire to come back, and that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, and it's ironic, I'm a sort of returnee myself.
Sure.
Who's gone for about 10 years, and at least half of our administration fits that category.
Right.
The irony is my biggest recruiting tool is come back home and help us do what we need to do to lift up Albuquerque.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
And a lot of the people who've agreed to do that, that's, they're like, all right, I'm going to be part of this.
That's pretty cool. Let's go to housing. Again, all these things are connected. So a lot of stuff in the local news lately about tiny houses, placement of these types of homes. We have a need to house our homeless out there, and nothing's going to happen for these folks unless they are at a place where they can get their lives sort of together. But we have NIMBY issues, and then we have issues of where to have services to go along with these housing issues. Let's start with your philosophy, first of all. What's your sense of how we approach the housing issue, particularly for our homeless population? What's your thought there?
I think this is a little bit like crime, where I've sort of realized that you can't have one singular answer.
Right.
But that also means you don't exclude one particular idea. And so I believe we've got to look at the whole spectrum that we're dealing with when it comes to homelessness and housing. And where are our biggest gaps? So one is housing, and we are funding now, I think, 40 new units of supportive housing just outside of downtown, and council passed that last week. So we're working on that. There's actually a high percentage of subsidized housing throughout downtown. So we've actually done okay on that front. But there are much, much bigger gaps. For example, housing vouchers are the cheapest and most effective way to deal with folks who are housing ready. And we underfund that program. We think we could take at least 10 to 20% of the entire homeless population and be able to address their needs with housing vouchers. And that's actually the least expensive way to do it. And we're using existing housing stock, so it helps, rehab and these kinds of things. So we're working on that angle. Then at the other end of the spectrum, we have to have somewhere for people to go right now to get services with no questions asked.
Right.
And we don't as a city. We're one of the only major cities in the country where if you're addicted or if you're homeless or if you're mentally ill, where do you go to spend the night? We do not have that right now, where there's no questions asked. We have a bunch of small nonprofits who do their best, but they have criteria, whether it's age or you have to be sober, et cetera. So, I think we're going to announce this once we flesh it all out. But what we're looking at to start with as a temporary measure, we've got to keep our city winter shelter open year round. And think about it. What city just has a shelter in the winter? So we're right now we are saying as a city, we will only take care of you if you're freezing.
Right.
And that is an antiquated idea that we've got to get past. So I think we're going to set that up, and then we're working with the county and with UNM to try and see what we can do about finally getting a treatment center here in Albuquerque for addiction. And it's got to be a facility that will at least take you even to sober up for a few days. No questions asked. And so if we can put this together with those partners, and that's why we got to come together as one city, we're at least going to be able to deal with another chunk of that population. And so as you can see, whether it's housing vouchers or the behavioral health or supportive housing, that's how we address that. It's going to take like 5 solutions to actually make a dent in the problem.
Where does services and where they're located fit in? Is there, for a lot of folks, they don't want to have homeless in their area. They just don't want to have it. Is there something you can find that it's not so concentrated downtown? We're able to get out maybe towards the San Mateo corridor a little bit more. We've got a big problem there too with homeless. Is there a way to do that? It just seems unfulfilling to say, well, there's a bus going down Central. If you're down here, services are over here. It just doesn't seem quite right. Because when you're really up against it, even a half mile is a long way to go for services. So, what's your sense of that?
So, I think we've got to do two things. One is there has to be some decentralized services.
Okay.
So you've got to acknowledge that it's a big city, and so if you just have everything in one place, it creates all these problems trying to get people in, and then you create issues in that one place. But also you have to balance out where medical care is. And so at the end of the day, and this is why the placement of this center I'm sure will be challenging, but we have some areas of our town that are not near at least residential neighborhoods or businesses. And these areas tend to be good places where you can actually have that center, because you have to have both. Again, you can't just have one big place like San Antonio.
Right.
I went there and visited, and there's a lot of pros to that model, but a lot of cons also. But you also can't just have, all right, well, there's like 20 different nonprofit shelters all over town. And you can't have that either. So
Right.
we've got to have proximity to medical services, and then you have to have a couple of satellite areas where people can get help. But
We have to be realistic about this, don't we? Like all of us
Yeah.
in this town. Like, it's going to be a big push from all of us to get this thing moving.
And this is, I think, part of something that I've realized too. We've all got to come together to deal with these issues.
Right.
And what that means is something different for the issue. For homelessness, it means, you know what? We all got to step up.
Yeah.
And part of it means it's okay if it's in my neighborhood, because we all have to step up. There's different ways for people to step up. But at the end of the day, I think we all agree it's a huge issue. And so we have to take a bigger picture and say, you know what, we got to do what's right for our city as a whole.
Right. Speaking of which, good transition. I want to talk about community building. I'm interested in the One Albuquerque program that you've rolled out. For a lot of folks, there's a little bit of confusion about what it is, but talk about that if you would a little bit. What is One Albuquerque and what's the goal here?
So it's really a call to action, and it's branded too, but there's something behind that brand. So let me kind of talk about what it is visually and then what it is from a policy perspective. So if folks can see the graphic, or we might be showing it on screen. But if you look at it, it's One Albuquerque in kind of a word puzzle. And what it spells with the coloring is also One Burque. And a lot of people, they hear that, and for a certain segment of the population, it's very meaningful.
Right.
Others are like, oh, that's slang. What does that even mean? But I believe we have to return to our core narrative as a city. And that name is actually really powerful. That's part of our old name. The city used to have an extra R in it when we were statehood. And the reason why people say like they're a Burqueño, that extra R, that pronunciation, is actually from the old spelling of Albuquerque. So the whole point of it is this, basically. We got to come together as one city. You can call it Albuquerque, or you can say Burque. It doesn't matter. We got to come together as one city.
Sure.
And there's room there for both of us. And there's room there to tell that story of our city, which is both a modern place and a place with deep roots.
Yeah.
So underneath that, it's about, we're going to be rolling out ways, for example, to help with housing vouchers. So hopefully people will actually be able to, instead of give money to somebody on the street corner, a panhandler, or calling 311, which actually hasn't done much, you're going to be able on your app to donate to a housing voucher. And we're going to be able to show you, okay, here's the 100 people we gave housing vouchers to instead of giving money to panhandlers. And then we're going to try and do it with economic development, the increment of one. We're going to ask businesses to come together and say, hey, instead of donating to, the mayor's ball, why don't you donate to this fund that is going to help entrepreneurs hire one more person so they can be a business. And then we're going to also have it for public safety when it comes to like officer recruiting and how you can actually try and help recruit an officer from high school to commit to helping our city in the future.
Right.
So we're going to have an initiative kind of every 3 or 4 months that is literally an example of how to come together as one Albuquerque, regardless of where you live, or even if you live in the county or the area, and say, look, I'm stepping up to help our city.
Right. It seems to me we have an opportunity with you as the mayor now to get some traction on something I know you've dealt with in the past. I've seen you do it, and that is the fairgrounds. Something has to move there, it seems to me. We've got this situation, we've been stuck in orbit on this for 15 years. You look at other cities and how they've dealt with their fairgrounds to the point of sometimes moving the fairgrounds outside of the city center to the more peripheral, in fact, way back, Mayor Chavez had that idea, if you remember that.
That's
one
right.
way back
Vista
when.
del Sol, I
That's
think.
right, and to move it all to the East Mountains. Are we at a point now where either the frustration's built up enough or the financial losses have built up enough, we can finally, I understand the state relationship with the city, can we get some traction on the fairgrounds? Because you think about it, it's a major part of our city that if it was redeveloped could really be something for us. Your thoughts on that?
It's something I've been working on almost for 10 years now, back when I was a state senator for that area. And so it's unfinished business for a lot of folks. But the key to the fairgrounds has always been, and I learned this even when I was state auditor, it is the governor. even on the org chart, like the fairgrounds is this bizarre box off the governor's office. There is nothing else.
Yes.
And I have talked to at least one of our governor candidates and said, Albuquerque's ready.
Okay.
We would love to be a partner in looking at all sorts of ideas for the fairgrounds. But I know the first mover in that equation has to be a governor.
Okay.
So I hope we
Can you be influential enough in that regard with either of the folks running for governor now, do you think?
I think there's some levers you can pull, but at the end of the day, you've got to recognize that, it is literally even state land. Like our officers aren't deputized to work in there. It has special protections under law.
Right.
And it's one of those things where I also am, I don't want to reinvent the wheel in a sense that a lot of mayors have tried to do something with that. And I know at every step of the way, what was the issue? It wasn't the mayor.
That's right.
It was the governor.
I remember that charrette you were part of about 10, 15 years ago.
That's
Remember
right.
Al Park? Remember there was a
Very
big...
cool. Going to make it a central park, tear down the walls.
That's right. People will be shocked at how beautiful the ideas from the public came from that. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. I hope we can sit down and do this again and catch up maybe in about 6 months or so, see where things are. That'd be great.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Good stuff. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.